Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Zagger-tastic stream. It is I, your friend, the one, the only, Z-A single guard Zaggard, and I hope you're having a wonderful morning, noon, night, evening, whatever time it is for you today. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den, my friends, and it is a wonderful, beautiful, nice, calm, collected Thursday here. And, it's getting closer to winter, so we're going to play a little bit of our winter music. I'm really enjoying this Stream Beats winter music, so thank you, Harris Heller and Stream Beats, for your help. So the timer wasn't showing, but it was still playing. Weird. Okay, anyways, I saw a movie last night that I had not seen all the way through. One that I had seen bits and pieces of throughout the years. One that, like, the visuals always seemed interesting, but and I always saw people online talking about, like, oh, this is one of the most underrated Disney movies ever, right? And I had recently saw a YouTuber do a semi-review of it, talking about it and how he didn't love it as much as other people does, but he liked it okay. And I was just like, man, I should really watch that film. It's called Treasure Planet. If you couldn't tell by the title, sorry, I had to burp there. And I gotta say, I really liked Treasure Planet. It was really beautiful. It had this really interesting world building. One thing there are a couple things I didn't like, but we'll get to that later. But overall, I thought it was a really solid film from beginning to end. And I enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty good film. So if you haven't seen Treasure Planet, go watch it before I start talking about it. And if you have, stick around and we'll talk about it for a little bit longer together, you and me. Anyways, the main thing I didn't really like or hate was that there were just all these different alien species, and then some of them were just, this is a dog person, this is another animal person, and then this is like a gassy 2D creature thing, which that one was actually kind of interesting. Like, it had its own language and everything, but all the other ones just spoke English or common, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, that's a little boring. There's nothing unique about these races, they just exist. But it was fine. I mean, I guess there's one spider guy does have his claws that were pretty unique in the story for the most part. That was a sad scene, by the way. I did not expect that to happen, but it was also a really good scene. But sorry, I had to cough. Anyways, but after that scene, it made me have a bunch of questions. And the first question being, why are they waiting to mutiny? What's the point? Why wait? It's already there's already more of you in this pirate crew on the ship than there aren't. There's like 2 people who are trained to fight against pirates, and then 2 civilians who would not be able to be trained. Like, one of them is smart-ish, but why don't they just, as soon as the ship leaves port or whatever and they're out in space, just take over the ship? It wouldn't be that hard. You're just going against, it's like 15 people versus 4. Sure, one of you might die, but you're pirates. You don't care about that. It was kind of weird that they were waiting to mutiny. It made little to no sense to me. It really didn't. Like, they killed the rock guy and they're like, there's only 3 of them left. What, is the rock guy that much more powerful that he could have beaten up the rest of you? Was he like invincible or something? I know his name was Mr. Arrow. I was very confused. It didn't make a lick of sense, in my opinion. That was like the one thing that I didn't like in the story. Everything else I liked okay. I liked either okay or I liked a lot. Like the relationship between the main character and John Silver, I think is his name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's John Silver. The relationship between them was golden. It was beautiful. It was showing a kid spending time with a father figure that he never got to have, and now he gets to have sort of a father figure. And it actually changes the way John Silver looks at him too. Like, there are 2 points where he could have killed him or let him die, and he didn't, because he started caring about the boy. And it was really a beautiful, kind of nice, showing sentiment there, like showing character growth between characters. Like, they're not just static, I am villain, you are hero, we fight, we on opposite ends. No, it was they're people. They're living, breathing people. One's a pirate. One's kind of a rebel, but not really a pirate. He's not bad. He's just a teenager who wants to kind of prove himself. And where there was one other thing that, you know, it usually bugs me when I see this in films, when they just play like a montage of traveling scenes and then they play some music over it, some like 90s, early 2000s music. And there's like this scene where at first I thought I was gonna hate it because it's just showing the ship traveling, and then it's showing the main character, and it's playing the song about how he's like, I'm misunderstood, I'm a teenager who's misunderstood, but I'm gonna prove to the world one day. And I was like, ugh, I don't like this song. I hate scenes like these. But instead of it just showing him like standing at the front of the ship, like looking out in the stars, raising his hands out like I'm the king of the world sort of pose, instead it actually starts playing montages of him and John Silver, you know, doing things like John Silver teaching him to tie a knot, having him clean the stuff off the bottom of the ship, which, by the way, how does that get there? That gets on the bottom of water ships because it's an aquatic creature. How would it get there in space? Space is so vast and limitless. I mean, I get, you know, fantasy sci-fi world, which honestly there were a lot of things in that movie that made me start thinking about stuff that I could add into D&D, but I'll get into that on Friday, which is tomorrow if you're here in the present. But, you know, normally I hate those scenes because they're just transition scenes that are stretched out from a couple seconds to a few minutes just to stretch out the film. But it actually was a nice scene where it shows characters bonding in a few montages, instead of having him be like, clean the deck, and he's like, I'm cleaning the deck, and just nothing happening. They're playing a song over it, which was fine. It actually made the experience a little better than without it. So I'm glad that they had a scene like that. And it's one of the only times I've ever been like, man, I'm glad there's a scene. Usually I hate scenes like that. Like I said earlier, I just hate them usually. And then once I got to the planet, I expected to hate the robot character. And I get why some people do, because some people don't like their funky, weirdo, comic relief characters who are just kind of silly and ridiculous and don't make a lot of sense. But I actually love those kind of characters, so I was fine with him. I can see why some people would be annoyed with him, but he didn't annoy me that much. Like, a character who annoys me that's like that is Olaf. Olaf's whole thing, like, I'm in love with summer. I'm a snowman who suddenly knows about summer. I know. Disney released a short that explains why Olaf, a snowman who's only been alive for like a day, knows about summer. Yada. That was a terrible explanation, by the way. Instead of showing him pictures, they should have just had the innkeeper like tell him about the beauties of summer, and then he could be like, wow, that sounds amazing, I can't wait to see what that's like. If you just show someone something, yeah, I've looked at pictures of the Grand Canyon. I have never once wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Never. Not once in my life. I've never been like, wow, that's so cool. I know what the Grand Canyon looks like. I can see it here, and I can not go and see it. Seeing a picture of something doesn't make you want to see it as badly as someone telling you how great it is. Someone describing to you that there are meadows of grass with wonderful flowers and trees and plants with beautiful smells and the sun beaming down on your skin is so much infinitely better than someone just showing you a picture of a grassy field in summer. You're like, oh, that's a grassy field in summer. Cool. I think they missed the ball on that one for Olaf, but that's a whole other thing. Anyways, we're back to Treasure Planet. I didn't think the robot character was that annoying. I forget his name, though. I remember he was voiced by Martin Short, which some people find his characters annoying. I love his characters, by the way. Loved you in Santa Claus 3. Thank you very much, Martin Short. I'm pretty sure that's Martin Short. If it's not Martin Short, I'm going to be a little mad at myself for getting that wrong, but I'm 99% sure that's Martin Short. And I liked him. I liked him in it a lot. He was really fun. He made a lot of sense. He's this robot who had his memory taken out, and he's been sitting on this planet for 100 years going slowly insane. He'd be a little quirky. Like, he'd be a little quirky, okay? But you know, honestly, if anything, even if this isn't like your favorite movie of all time, or if you don't think it's the greatest movie, I think it's this Treasure Planet is a good template for a D&D story. I'm not even kidding. Take scenes from that, take the whole story from that, and you can make an easy, like, traveling pirate adventuring D&D story. And I actually have an idea that I'll talk about again tomorrow that I came up with while watching this film, and it made me so excited about D&D stuff. So I'd say this is a really solid film. I'd say it's at least a 6 or a 7. Not something super amazing, but it's pretty good. Pretty good film. You should all watch it if you haven't already. That's what I have to say about Treasure Planet. And for those of you who love Treasure Planet, please don't hate me. And I don't think it's perfect. I think it has a little bit of flaws. Like what? Like this, the whole thing when he at the beginning when he's writing this the windsurfer, the sun surfer, whatever they call it, sun sailor, and he and he gets caught by police for just being in that illegal area, and it's like, what? That was too edgy punk rock. Like, oh, this kid, he's always breaking rules, but he's not really doing anything. He's just there, which I guess you could say is restricted airspace, and he could go to. I don't know. It felt a little too. I don't know. That felt too modern and a little bit unbelievable with how modern it was being when they're supposed to kind of be like 1700s kind of universe space thing. Because they dress like it's the 1700s and everybody kind of acts like it's the 1700s. I didn't like the kind of forced romance between the professor and the captain. I forget her name. I just remember she was captain or ma'am. I didn't get why they had to fall in love. I could get her like respecting him more by the end of it, but being in love and having kids, that was a little hard to. That was a little bit too like Disney's like, hey, we need our love story. Where's our love story? And then all of a sudden the character, she's just like, your eyes are wonderful. I guess you're, low on blood, so sure you can say weird things, but that shouldn't just mean that they'll be in a relationship. Oh no, they have kids. They have like 3 kids. Okay. Moving on. Other than that, I think overall it's just a really solid movie. There's not a lot of flaws in it for me personally. Some people find all the other characters annoying. I did not. I actually liked them all. I like how serious she is and how wordy she is, and how Arrow's always kind of by her side and trusted. It was really good. I liked it a lot, and I thought I'd have more to say about it, but it's a really solid film. There are some themes that I really want to talk about tomorrow, like the whole what the orb leads to, what Treasure Planet actually ends up being. Those were all really cool. I'm thinking of again implementing something like that into my D&D world, and it could actually be a really good reward if the players figure it out or whatever. That's just my thought. Anyways, let's move on to Darkest do Dungeons and get off of Treasure Planet for a minute. But before we do, I have to blow my nose. So if you'll just excuse me real quick so I can blow my nose.